I was pulling into the driveway when my phone rang. Delano's name on the screen. First time he'd called me directly in months. My first thought, finally. Maybe he was ready to recognize everything I'd done. My team had been hitting every damn target for a year straight, and I'd been killing myself to make it happen. I let it ring once more, then picked up. "Hey, Mr. Delano, what's going on?" He cleared his throat like he always does when he's about to say something corporate. "Hey there, just a quick thing about the upcoming holiday retreat. Wanted to give you a heads up." "Sure," I said, tossing my keys on the counter. "Everyone's excited. Laura's already booking the kids' travel bags." Silence. Then he said, "Yeah, so this year's retreat is going to be executive level only." I paused. "Executive level only? No families this time. We're keeping it small, focused, intimate." I laughed, thinking it was a joke. "You're cutting out the family portion? What happened to the whole company as a family speech from last year?" He chuckled, awkward. "We just want to keep it streamlined this time. You understand?" I didn't. "So, no kids at all?" There was a beat too long before he answered. "Well, some of the VPs are still bringing theirs, but they're just more polished." That word stopped me cold. "Polished," I repeated. "Don't take it the wrong way. It's just some environments require a little more composure. Your kids are energetic." I stared out the window. My daughter Emma was 7, smart, funny, loved singing in the car. Lucas was 4, obsessed with dinosaurs, couldn't sit still for anything. So what? They were kids. "You're telling me my kids aren't welcome because they're not polished enough?" He sighed like I was the one making it weird. "Look, I'm not saying they're not great, but this retreat is at a luxury estate. Quiet setting, no distractions." I didn't say anything. I just let that sit there. He kept going, filling the silence. "You and Laura should still come. You've earned it. Take a break. Just the two of you." "Right, because family means nothing unless it fits the decor." I said, "I'll get back to you." Then I hung up and walked into the house. Emma was sprawled on the living room floor, building a Lego castle, Lucas beside her, roaring like a T-Rex. Laura looked up from the couch, smiling. I didn't smile back. I sat down, still gripping the phone like it might burn through my hand. They didn't want my kids. I stood there for a second, phone still in my hand, then turned and walked back out onto the porch. I shut the door behind me so the kids couldn't hear. My thumb hovered, then I hit redial. Delano picked up fast, like he'd been waiting. "Hey, let's clear something up," I said, cutting him off. "Why are my kids the problem?" He didn't answer right away. I could hear papers shifting, that fake busy noise he made when he was buying time. "I wouldn't say problem." "That's exactly what you're saying," I shot back. "You said other people are bringing their kids, so tell me why mine aren't welcome." He sighed. "They're just spirited. And this retreat is meant to be calm, quiet. It's a luxury environment." I leaned against the porch railing. "They're kids. They're 7 and 4. "Right," he said quickly. "And great kids, I'm sure. But some children are just a bit louder, a bit more active." I felt my jaw tighten. "You've met them once, for 10 minutes, at a barbecue?" "And they were running around," he said, like that settled it. I laughed, sharp and ugly. "So were Jared's twins. They knocked over a cooler." "That's different," he said. "How?" Another pause. "They're more manageable." There it was again. Manageable, polished. I could practically hear him choosing words that sounded clean instead of honest. "So let me get this straight," I said. "You're telling me my kids don't fit the vibe." "I wouldn't phrase it like that." "I am," I said, "because that's what it is." He switched tactics. I could hear it in his voice. "Look, we really want you there. You and Laura. You've earned it. You've been a huge part of the company's growth. But not my family." "This isn't about family," he said. "It's about professionalism." That one hit harder than I expected. "You're telling me my kids are unprofessional." No, he said fast. "You're twisting my words." "Then say it straight," I snapped. "Say why my kids are the only ones being singled out." He didn't. He just kept circling. "It's a quiet retreat. Investors, executives. It's not the place for kids who act like kids," I finished for him. He went quiet again. When he spoke, his voice dropped, like he was doing me a favor. You and Laura should really think about this. A weekend away, no distractions. It could be good for you. I felt my hands curl into fists. If my kids aren't welcome, then neither am I. He laughed, short and surprised. Come on, don't be dramatic. I'm not, I said. I'm being clear. You're really going to skip the retreat over this? Yes. You're putting me in a tough spot, he said. I almost laughed again. You already did that. He tried one last time. This could affect how you're seen moving forward. That was the moment something inside me snapped clean in half. If being seen means pretending my kids don't exist, then I'm fine with that. I didn't wait for his response. I hung up. The silence afterward was loud. My heart was pounding, like I'd just slammed a door I couldn't reopen. I stood there staring at the dark screen, half expecting it to light up again. It didn't. I went back inside. The living room smelled like plastic and crayons. Emma was carefully stacking Lego bricks into a tall tower, tongue sticking out in concentration. Lucas was on his knees beside her, pushing a toy truck through the mess, making engine noises. Dad, look, Emma said. It's the tallest one yet. I nodded and forced a smile. That's impressive. Lucas crashed his truck into the base of the tower. The whole thing collapsed. Emma yelled. Lucas laughed. Laura looked over at me from the couch, her smile fading when she saw my face. Everything okay? I walked over and sat on the floor with the kids. I picked up a red block and handed it back to Emma. My hands were still shaking. Yeah, I said. Everything's fine. The kids went back to building, completely unaware. I watched them, sitting right there on the carpet, and stayed put. I was still on the floor with the kids when my phone buzzed again. I grabbed it without thinking, hoping it wasn't Delano trying round two. It was Jared. Jared. Heard you're making a thing out of the retreat. Come on, man, don't be difficult. I stared at it for a second. Typical Jared. No greeting, no context, just straight into the smug. I didn't even get a chance to type before another one came in. Jared, don't make everything personal. This is just how the execs want it. Laura had walked in behind me. I felt her hand on my shoulder. Who is it? Guess. I turned the phone so she could see. She leaned down and read over my shoulder. I typed back, fast. Me. You're bringing your kids. A minute passed. He saw the message. 3 dots blinked, then stopped. Another pause. Then, Jared. Yeah, but you know how mine are? They're just more manageable. It's not a big deal. Laura's hand tightened. Her fingernails dug into my shirt through the fabric. Unbelievable, she muttered. I could feel my pulse in my ears. I typed without thinking. Me. My kids are the same age as yours. What makes yours more manageable? That they stay quiet around you? No reply. Me. You know this is crap, right? Still nothing. Me. I won't be at the retreat. His read receipt popped up. Then silence. That was it. The guy had nothing to say once it wasn't on his terms. Laura moved around and sat down in front of me, crossed her legs like she was grounding herself. You think Delano told him to reach out? I nodded. Absolutely. He's always been their messenger boy. Her eyes were locked on the phone. He said our kids aren't manageable. He did. She didn't say anything for a second. Then she stood up and walked to the kitchen like she couldn't sit still. I followed. She grabbed a glass and filled it, hands shaking slightly. I've sat through their barbecues, their damn charity events, their fake Christmas parties. I've watched Jared's kids climb all over buffet tables, scream during speeches. Nobody said a word. I know. And now they're calling our kids unpolished, she snapped, like they're decorations that don't match the color scheme. I leaned against the counter, arms crossed. It's not about behavior. It's about who fits their image. She stared down into her water like she wanted to throw it. What do you want to do? I already did it. I'm not going. She looked up at me. Good. I went back to the living room and picked up my phone again, just to see if Jared had followed up. Nothing. Laura leaned in the doorway, arms crossed, watching me. What now? I looked over at Emma and Lucas. They were back at it, Emma stacking Legos again like nothing had happened. Lucas curled up beside her, humming some made-up tune under his breath. Now? I said. Now we wait and see how loud the silence gets. Laura nodded, jaw tight, then walked over and sat with the kids. She pulled Lucas into her lap and kissed the top of his head. I sat down beside her. No more texts came, Not from Jared, not from Delano. But I knew it wasn't over. After the messages stopped, I sat on the couch and stared at my inbox. 22 unread emails, 14 from the last 2 days. Half of them had nothing to do with my actual job, just little side requests from Delano's assistant or someone trying to pass off their mess. Can you draft a response to that supplier? We need someone to pick up the signage for Thursday's demo. Jared's out sick. Can you sit in on his meeting? Always me, because I never said no. I scrolled back through my calendar. 7 Saturdays I'd worked this year, 3 events I'd helped coordinate after hours, 1 last-minute overnight trip because Delano forgot to confirm the venue, and I'd booked it myself from my hotel room in Dallas. That's when it hit me. I wasn't just an employee, I'd turned into their fixer, their cleaner, the guy they called when Jared screwed up or someone bailed. I thought about the time Delano's wife forgot his laptop, and he sent me to his house to grab it, like I was a damn courier. Or the weekend I canceled Emma's soccer game because Jared's VIP brunch needed backup staff. And I'd done it all without complaining, because I thought loyalty would earn me something. Turns out, it got me banned from a company retreat because my kids weren't polished enough. I shut my laptop and opened my phone. Group chat with Delano and the other leads, muted. Calendar reminders, canceled. Anything marked voluntary or optional got ignored. The next day, an email popped up. Subject, last-minute help needed for partner visit. From Delano. Can you help stage the conference room this afternoon? Jared's caught up with a site walkthrough. I didn't reply. A few hours later, a text from his assistant. Hey, just checking if you got Mr. Delano's email? I didn't answer that either. By Thursday, they noticed. Delano stopped me in the hallway. Did you see the request about Friday's prep? Yeah, I said. Didn't apply to me. He blinked like he couldn't process that. We could really use the help. I'm sure someone else will step up, I said, then walked right past him. Friday came. No Jared. Conference room looked like crap. Delano had to set up the slideshow himself. Poorly. I saw the panic in his face when one of the partners asked about the wrong file on the projector. I didn't offer to fix it. Back at my desk, I started deleting old documents I'd built for everyone else. Cheat sheets, how-to guides, backup contact lists, stuff I'd made because no one else could be bothered. I didn't owe them anymore. Not my time, not my weekends, not my silence. Laura called that afternoon just to check in. How's the vibe over there? She asked. Uneasy, I said. They're not used to me saying no. She laughed. About time. And she was right. If I wasn't family enough to bring my kids, then I wasn't family enough to be their crutch. They wanted clean, quiet, and controlled. Let them handle the chaos without me. A few days later, Delano called again. I saw his name light up my phone while I was at my desk, right as I was finishing a report that used to get an instant reply from him. I let it ring twice before answering. Hey, he said, voice smoother than usual, polite, careful. Just wanted to touch base. About what? I asked. The retreat, he said, like we hadn't already burned through that topic. I feel like wires got crossed. I don't want this to turn into something bigger than it needs to be. I leaned back in my chair. There's nothing crossed, he pushed on. You're a key part of the leadership group. Your presence matters. Still not bringing my kids, I said. He exhaled slowly. We talked about this. And I answered. Think about it, he said. Just you and Laura, no distractions. It would show unity. Unity, that word again, stretched thin. No, I said. I won't be there. Silence. Then his tone shifted, tightened. Okay, well, there's another thing we need to clear up. Here it comes, I thought. Did you mess with the company card? He asked. I frowned. What company card? The one tied to your account, he said. Our charges are getting declined. My stomach dropped. Not panic, recognition. A memory clicking into place. Years ago, a vendor had threatened to walk during a product launch. Accounting was unreachable. Delano had called me in a frenzy, and I'd put the emergency charge on my personal card. After that, they'd asked to be added as authorized users. Temporarily. That was the word they used. I'd completely forgotten about it. I didn't mess with anything, I said slowly. Well, it stopped working, he said, and we have expenses coming up. I pulled my phone away from my ear and opened my banking app. There it was. Pages of charges I hadn't looked at in years. Flights, hotels, dinners, stuff I'd never attended. They were still using it. I see the problem, I said. Great, he replied, relieved. So, you can fix it? I already did, I said. What do you mean? I canceled the card yesterday. His voice snapped sharp. You what? I canceled it, I repeated. It's my card. You didn't think to tell anyone? He shot back. You didn't think to stop using it, I said. That card was for company business, he said. It was for an emergency, I said. Years ago. You're really doing this? He asked. Right before the holidays? I sat up straighter. You've been charging thousands to my account without asking. Well, you never complained, he said. That doesn't make it yours. His politeness was gone now. This feels ungrateful. I laughed once. Ungrateful? We gave you opportunities, he said. Exposure, growth. And I paid for your dinners, I said. Your flights, your last-minute fixes. You're blowing this up, he said, over a trip you didn't even have to bring kids to. That was it. You don't get to talk about my kids, I said flatly. Another pause, heavy this time. You're putting the company in a bad position, he said. No, I said. I'm stepping out of one. He lowered his voice. We expect loyalty. I leaned forward, elbows on my desk. Loyalty doesn't mean being used. You're being emotional, he said. I'm being done, I said. You'll never see another cent from me. His breath hitched like he was about to argue again. I didn't let him. This conversation is over, I said, and hung up. My hands were steady when I set the phone down. I opened my email and sent a short message to accounting, copying Delano. 2 sentences. No emotion, no explanation. Then I logged out of my accounts, shut my laptop, and stood up from my desk. I was halfway down the hall when my phone buzzed again. I didn't even have to look to know who it was. I stopped near the stairwell and checked. Jared. You're seriously going to throw everything away over one trip? I shook my head and leaned against the wall. My chest felt tight, but my hands were steady now. I typed back. Me. It's not about the trip, it's about respect. 3 dots popped up instantly. This time, he didn't hesitate. Jared, you're taking this way too personally. I let out a slow breath. Of course, I muttered, then typed. Me? They singled out my kids. Explain how that's not personal. A second passed, then my phone rang. Jared didn't bother texting anymore. I answered without saying hello. What the hell is your problem? He snapped. My problem? I said. You really want to go there? You're blowing up years of work, he said. Delano's pissed, accounting scrambling. You're making everyone look bad. I laughed, actually laughed, short and loud in the empty hallway. That's what you're worried about? Yes, he said. This is how careers die. No, I said. This is how doormats stop getting stepped on. He scoffed. Come on, you know how this works. You play ball. You don't burn bridges. They burned it, I said. They just didn't expect me to notice. He lowered his voice like he was being reasonable. What if we compromise? I closed my eyes. Go on. What if you just gave them a smaller monthly expense budget, he said. Temporary, just until things cool off. That did it. I laughed again, louder this time. You're joking. I'm trying to help you, he said. No, I said. You're trying to save yourself. That's not fair. It's accurate, I said. I'm done paying for things that aren't mine. I'm done covering for you. I'm done fixing problems I didn't create. You're acting like a martyr, he snapped. I'm acting like someone who finally figured it out, I said. He went quiet for a beat, then tried another angle. You know Delano, he holds grudges. So do I said. You're going to regret this, he said. They gave you chances, access, mentorship. I laughed again, but there was no humor in it now. Mentorship? You mean dumping work on me while you played Golden Boy? Watch it, he warned. Or what? I asked. You'll tell them I'm difficult? He exhaled hard. You're being selfish. There it was. The word they always used when someone stopped saying yes. Selfish would have been letting this keep going, I said. What I'm doing now is setting a boundary. You think you're better than us now? He shot back. I think I'm done being useful, I said. There's a difference. You're making a huge mistake, he said. Then it's mine to make, I said. This is over. He hung up without another word. I stared at the screen for a second, then tapped his contact. Block. Confirm. The hallway was quiet again. I slid my phone into my pocket, turned toward the stairs, and kept walking. The next week, a delivery guy knocked on our door, holding a thick envelope with my name in bold block letters and a signature required sticker slapped across the front. I signed, closed the door, and carried it into the kitchen where Laura was feeding the kids scrambled eggs. She looked up the second she saw my face. "What is it?" "Registered mail," I said, "from the company." I tore it open. Inside was a 5-page letter on company letterhead, all legalese and fake politeness. I skimmed the first paragraph. My stomach dropped around page 2. They were billing me, not joking, billing me, for training investments, mentorship hours, and professional growth services they claimed I'd received during my time there. Total amount due, $76,413.28. I let out a sharp laugh, the kind that doesn't sound right. Laura walked over, wiping her hands on a dish towel. "What's funny?" I handed her the letter. "Read it." She scanned it, eyes moving fast. Then she blinked, looked at me, then back at the letter. "They're unhinged," she said flatly. "They think this is going to scare me." Lucas threw a spoon on the floor behind us. Neither of us moved. "They're reaching," Laura said. "Desperate." "Yeah," I muttered. "Let's give them what they're looking for." The next morning, I got up early, skipped breakfast, grabbed the letter, and drove straight to the office. I parked in my usual spot. No visitor badge, no heads up. Just walked in like I owned the place. A couple coworkers spotted me in the hallway, eyes wide like I was a ghost. I didn't stop. Didn't say a word. Delano and Jared were in the conference room, hunched over a laptop like they were planning world domination. I didn't knock, just opened the door, walked in, and dropped the letter onto the table between them. Jared sat back like he was annoyed. "This isn't how we handle disputes." Delano looked up, trying to act surprised. "You could have emailed." I didn't sit down. I reached for the letter, held it up, and tore it straight down the middle. Then I tore it again. And again. Until I had a small pile of shredded garbage in my hands. I dropped it on the table. "You want to bill me for mentorship?" I said. "Try it." Delano stayed quiet, eyes tight. I leaned forward. "You want to take me to court? Great, let's do it. I've got receipts going back 5 years. You really want to explain to a judge how you used my personal card for corporate travel and called it mentorship?" Jared opened his mouth. I cut him off. "Don't," I snapped. "You let this happen. You watched it." Delano finally spoke. "This is a legal matter now. It's out of my hands." "Nothing's out of your hands," I said. "You started this. You kept it going. You think threatening me with fake bills is going to scare me into crawling back?" He stood up, smoothing his jacket. "You're making a scene." "No," I said, pointing at the shredded mess on the table. "This is the scene you made." Jared muttered something under his breath. I ignored him. "You don't own me," I said, looking straight at Delano. "And you sure as hell don't get to send me an invoice for all the times I carried your dead weight." I turned, walked out, and let the door swing shut behind me. Not one person tried to stop me on the way out. I pulled into the driveway just as the sun was starting to go down. Christmas Eve. The porch light clicked on as I grabbed the last grocery bag out of the back seat. Inside, I could already hear the kids singing along with some half-broken speaker Laura hated, but refused to throw away. I was halfway up the steps when I saw them, Delano and Jared, standing at my front door like a pair of salesmen, wearing wool coats and fake smiles. Jared held a red box in his arms, labeled in big block marker, "For the kids." Of course. They both turned as I approached. Jared gave me this hopeful grin, like we were old college buddies just bumping into each other by chance. "Hey," he said, lifting the box slightly. "We didn't want to leave things on a bad note." Delano nodded like he was just the driver in this guilt trip. "We thought, maybe this could be a fresh start." I dropped the bag on the porch and looked at the box. "What is that?" "Some gifts," Jared said. "Toys, books, stuff they might like." I looked him dead in the eye. "Did you bring gifts to the retreat for the other kids?" He blinked. "Well, no, but this is different." "No," I cut in. "It's not." Delano stepped forward. "We know this has been tense, But we really hope you'll come by the office party tomorrow. Bring the family. Let's put this behind us." I laughed once, sharp and dry. "Let me get this straight. You uninvited my kids, accused me of theft, tried to shake me down for $75,000. And now you think a few coloring books and a plate of cookies erases that?" Jared shifted the box in his hands. "It's Christmas." "That's right," I said. "And my kids already know who cares about them. You're not on the list." Delano's voice dropped low, like he thought he could still steer this. "Let's not make this harder than it needs to be." I stepped forward, close enough to smell whatever overpriced cologne he'd drowned himself in. "You made it hard. I made it clear. If you ever want to talk again, it'll be through HR, on paper." Jared opened his mouth. I raised a hand. "Don't." He froze. Then I looked at the box again. "You can keep it." I grabbed the grocery bag, turned, and walked inside without another word. I shut the door in their faces, locked it, then walked back to the kitchen like nothing happened. New Year's Eve. I was outside stringing lights around the porch rail with Emma when I saw the black SUV creeping up the street, slowed down right in front of our house. I knew it before the door even opened. Delano stepped out first, followed by Jared, both in suits again. No shame, no boundaries, just more fake professionalism dressed in desperation. "Stay here," I said to Emma, and walked down the steps. Delano held up a folder like he was delivering a wedding invitation. "We need to clear the air." "No," I said. "You need to leave." Jared moved beside him. "You've been spreading misinformation," he said, "and it's affecting the company's image." I laughed. "You mean people are finally asking questions?" Delano's face tightened. "This is now a legal matter. We're prepared to file a defamation suit." "For what?" I asked. "Telling the truth?" "You've made several statements that paint the company in a false light," Jared said. "Professional slander, reputation damage." "You came to my home," I said, "on a holiday, with a threat." "We're offering a solution," Delano cut in. He opened the folder, pulled out a stack of papers, and held them out. "You sign this NDA, and we let everything go. No lawsuit, no noise, we move on." I didn't take it. Instead, I pulled out my phone and hit record, held it right at chest level. The screen lit up red. "You're recording us?" Jared snapped. "Sure am," I said, "just in case either of you forgets what really happened." Delano's mouth pulled into a fake smile. "Let's not make this more hostile than it already is." I stepped closer. "You sent a fake invoice for 76 grand, used my personal card without permission, blocked my kids from a company event, and now you're trying to silence me with a threat." "No one's trying to silence you," Jared said. "You just handed me a gag order," I said. "You think I won't drag this into the light?" Delano shook his head. "We're trying to be civil, professional. You lost that chance weeks ago." Jared crossed his arms. "This won't end well for you." I kept my voice even. "Go ahead. Take me to court. I've got the receipts, every message, every charge, every call." Neither of them moved. I nodded at the folder. "You can take that back, and the threats, and your little image crisis." Delano stepped forward. "You don't understand what this kind of stunt can do to your future." I slammed the gate shut between us. "You don't understand. I'm not scared of you anymore." They stared at me like they expected me to back down, like I always had. Not this time. "Find another scapegoat," I said. Then I turned, walked back up the steps, and slammed the door behind me. I shut the door, locked it, and didn't look back. That was the last time I saw either of them. Now, months later, I was standing barefoot in the backyard with tongs in one hand and a beer in the other. Smoke rose off the grill, the smell of barbecue drifting through the air. Emma was running laps around the yard with our old mutt Charlie, both of them barking, her for fun, him in confusion. Lucas chased Bubbles like they were worth $1 million, giggling every time one popped on his nose. Laura sat in a lawn chair next to the cooler, sunglasses on, sipping her lemonade like a queen. It was quiet. Not just the yard, not just the neighborhood, my phone, no calls, no texts, no stupid calendar reminders for voluntary meetings that always ended with me picking up Jared's slack. Just quiet. I flipped the burgers and took a sip of my drink. Cold, clean, peaceful. For a long time, I'd bought into their game. Thought being useful meant I mattered. That if I just worked hard enough, stayed late enough, proved myself over and over again, Eventually, they'd treat me like I belonged. But that was never the plan. I wasn't family, I was backup, a tool. Now I had everything they pretended to value, right here. Emma ran up to me, red-faced and grinning. "Can I flip one?" "Go for it," I said, handing her the tongs. She took them like she'd won a prize, turned to the grill, and proudly flipped a burger onto the grass. Lucas cheered. Charlie ran off with it. Laura laughed from her chair. "Dinner's going great, chef." "Perfect," I said. I sat back, stretched out my legs, and looked around. I didn't need Delano. I didn't need Jared. And best of all, they didn't have a damn thing on me anymore. Thank you for being with us. Don't miss our new stories. They're coming soon. If you haven't yet, please leave a like and follow the page to see more great content. Your support means a lot to us and motivates us to create even more warm, meaningful stories. See you next time. Take care and stay curious.